Welcome to another episode of Boom and Bust. I'm your host, Tony Clement. I'm here at the News Forum where all voices matter. Today, we're pleased to have on the program Mark Montgomery. He is a retired U.S. Navy Rear Admiral and now the Senior Director on Cyber and Technology Innovation at the Foundation for Defense of Democracies in Washington, D.C. He'll be talking about Japan's cyber resilience and security. Welcome, sir.
Hey, thank you very much for having me, Tony.
Sir, obviously this interview came about because of a recent article you wrote for the FDD in which you see Japan's cyber resilience as a key component to security in the Pacific. So let's kind of unpack that a little bit for the next few minutes. What is the security situation in the Pacific right now?
So it's, for the United States, our principal adversary there is China. We're working hard to create enough force posture and capability to deter China from doing anything to resolve the Taiwan issue in a aggressive manner. We're also, though, treaty bound to protect Japan and treaty bound to protect Korea. So we have a number of security requirements there. And I'll tell you, when we think about either the Japan scenario or the Taiwan scenario, the participation by Japan is critical. And it is one that the United States has come to understand must be properly developed and secured to ensure that it can reliably be used and can be assessed by the Chinese as reliable, because deterrence only works if the adversary can see it.
So, what is China doing in this part of the world? What sort of aggressive activity are they doing right now?
Well, on the kinetic side, on the military force side, first, they have really developed a military over the last 25 years whose sole objective appears to be to prevent the United States military, particularly our naval and air forces, from operating inside the first island chain. And, you have to give them a hat tip. They've really developed themselves. If you go back to 1995, 96, what was called the Third Taiwan Straits Crisis, when the United States put 2 aircraft carriers around Taiwan and China basically had to back off its belligerent behavior. The development of the Chinese military since then, over the past 25 years, is impressive. So the first is that kind of kinetic capability. The second is the way in which they use it to pressurize their adversaries, particularly Taiwan, Japan, and the Philippines. What I mean by that is they continually press up against known, I won't call them red lines, but lines of concern for each of those countries. Like the mid-straight line between Taiwan and China used to be one neither crossed. Now the Chinese cross it on an almost daily basis. Then they increase the number of ships that cross at a time, or the number of aircraft that cross the Taiwan air defense zone each time, and then the quality of those ships and the quality of those aircraft. So now it's just a constant pressure campaign against the Taiwan military. You see the same thing around the Senkaku Islands, where they used to operate 50 to 100 miles away 10 years ago. Then 5 years ago, it was 20 miles away. Today, they penetrate the 12 nautical mile territorial seas on a weekly basis, and the air above it as well. So they do this, and there's the same condition going on in the South China Sea with the Philippines. So a definite pressurization. And then finally, you're seeing this non-kinetic or cyber and information operations campaigns being rolled out against Japan, against Taiwan, against the Philippines, and in fact, against anyone who questions China's territorial claims anywhere in North and Southeast Asia.
Yeah, let's talk a little bit about that. What is the nature of this cyber threat?
So, from my perspective, the cyber threat, the first element of it is espionage. And we're seeing that in a significant way in the United States. I mean, most recently, I'm sure your audience knows that the Chinese broke into the email systems of the Secretary of Commerce, Gina Raimondo, and the U.S. ambassador in China, and the Assistant Secretary of State for that handles China at the State Department, and who was the lead planner for Secretary Raimondo. So broke into at least all 3 of those accounts and some of their subordinates as well. So they were reading her mail as she prepared to go over. a hat tip, that's cyber espionage. It's not necessarily not nothing that we don't respond to that with any kind of kinetic response. That's the
Sir, we're
first
just
thing.
going to
Cyber.
take a break. Hold that thought because I know you
Mm.
want to say more on that. We'll be back after these messages. Please stand by.